Welcome everybody to the Toku Portal podcast for Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger. I am Vashi V, back here with...
Decade.
King?
Rye.
And today we're talking about Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger, episode 24. So we open with a Tsurugi recap, and then Kotaro presents the Rangers with their KyuuRanger licenses, which is kind of like the movie promo item, I guess. Sholompo doesn't have one because he forgot to get one, so that was kind of funny. And then they get a call. Tetsu is rampaging through the city. The Rangers deploy. And then we cut to a dream of Tsurugi's comrade sacrificing himself to protect him. And then Tsurugi wakes up and tells Raptor and Spada to find something rather than join the other Rangers. And then we get the opening. Thoughts?
Not really much to say about the KyuuRanger licenses, although it does clear up character spelling, so I'm glad about that. Tsurugi, I don't entirely see the point of sending Raptor and Spada off right off the bat instead of actually helping, but you know, I mean, I guess it's a good lead-in for next week, so yeah, I mean, it was a way to open.
Well, as we find out later this episode, he's trying not to sacrifice more comrades, so it makes sense that he would send them what he believes to be out of danger.
Fair enough.
Other than that, why do they have membership cards?
Shameless movie tie-in.
Ugh.
That's one of the things that you get with I guess getting the tickets to go see the movie.
That's right, there was a commercial about that.
Yeah. Plus side, hey, we know it's no longer Sholompo.
Shorompo.
So I guess, yeah, it's Shoranpo. Because it's a freaking R on the license. I don't care what anybody says.
This is a problem.
I really don't feel like saying show Rompo.
Well, like, it's not the Japanese fault that their accent makes those two pronunciations sound the same, but it's a problem for us where we don't know what the actual pronunciation is supposed to be.
Like, we had this issue, didn't we, back when TokuRanger came out? Mainly because
Right in Light?
Right, mainly we had this issue primarily because of the issue of the prominence of Death Note, whose main character was Light, pronounced the exact same way as Right. So it got to be an issue of, well, which one is correct? The difference is I don't think TokuRanger ever actually wrote Right's name out as Right. Here, it's literally spelled out at this point. Granted, it took 21 episodes.
Tell you, really.
Or 24 episodes.
The thing about Death Note with his name being Light is that they do explain it in one episode. People were just being weird. At least it's not as bad as Hellsing, where people were like, no, his name is Alucard. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
No, if it's Dracula backwards, jackass.
It is literally, he's a vampire.
And throughout the series pointed out as the original. So yes, he's Vlad the Impaler. Dracula, he just, for some reason, started spelling his name backwards.
Hey, in One Piece, is his name Luffy or Rufy?
Well,
if it's Rufy, it takes a whole new take on that fucking series.
Thank you, 4Kids Dub, for making it Luffy. Something that doesn't sound dumb.
Or rapey. Which is not hard to do in anime.
okay!
Come on, everybody here knew what I meant by my Rufy comment.
Sadly. But yeah, any other points, Bashi?
No, that was basically it. There's just a shameless movie tie-in to the frickin' cards.
Yeah, pretty much. So then we cut to the sortie. Well, no, it's not even the sortie. It pretty much sends everyone except for Shalombo. They all get knocked out of their transformation. And then Governor Gabura, Tetsu's right-hand man, absorbs the Rangers into his stomach to be drained of blood, with the exception of Lucky, who trips and dodges the attack. So Tsurugi transforms and attacks, but gets his butt kicked. Before the two are defeated, Don Armage orders them to retreat, and taunts Tsurugi, saying that basically he knows he's not immortal anymore and they can be defeated anytime, and that he wasted his immortality and comrades' lives. And then he gives an evil laugh before dissipating. Pretty nice change of pace, because typically Don Armage's been kind of one-dimensional, and now we see that, yeah, he's a pretty big asshole as well. Thoughts?
Villain emotions, yay! What they did show of the fight with Tsurugi and the two of them, I've heard a lot of complaints about him this episode because seems like he's finally been nerfed, and I don't see that, because he does seem like he's at a bit of an incline here, because this guy, yes, he does look like a porcupine in a fucking Venus flytrap, but if he's the right-hand guy for one of the most powerful warriors in Jackbatter, I'm assuming he's pretty damn tough by their standards, so I can see how he'd have a little bit more trouble with that, and I like that he did push Lucky out of the way. I mean, that might have seemed like just spur of the moment move, but it was a nice teaser to show his true motives, like what Rai said earlier about how he didn't want Spot and Raptor to get caught in the danger.
Hold on a second, my mouth is full.
Awkward silence caused by eating. If you don't mind, I'll just jump into mine. It was a nice touch with Suguri pushing. Yeah, I'm gonna mispronounce his name a lot, so y'all can just deal with that. Him pushing Lucky out of the way, it ties into the character development with his character throughout this episode, with everything that you learn about him and the way the rest of this episode plays out, and to include the, I guess, slight character growth with Lucky too, I guess. The only issue that I'm having is Lucky is starting to literally have too much luck in this series. Like, literally the only reason why he did not get caught by that attack and absorbed with everybody else is because he literally tripped and slid off the stairs. That was it. There was nothing special about it. He just got lucky and tripped.
The same way he got lucky and two monsters got pulled out into the ocean?
Yeah, pretty much. All in all, it's like this was a nice touch, and it does show that Don Armage is not just, you know, some faceless villain, which primarily that's what he's been throughout this entire series. He's just been some hologram we've seen. Oh, he's the bad guy. We've not seen any like real villainous aspect of him outside of the fact that yes, he's the bad guy, and we know he's the bad guy. So him basically going, yeah, we can screw with this asshole whenever we want because he's no longer a threat. He's not immortal, so we can kill him whenever we want. That was a nice touch, and it's amazing me the amount of character growth that we've got in just this episode alone, despite the fact that we've missed a lot of character development with a lot of other characters. It's a little awkward to me, just a little bit. I mean, it's nice, but it's, like I said, it's off because there are other characters that I feel have been well underdeveloped by this point, and they're pushing character development really hard with Ho-Ho Soldier. beyond that, I mean, it was a nice scene.
So yeah, the thing I was gonna open up with is, why didn't Lucky get caught initially? He fucking tripped over his own dick or something? Because he was standing still, and then suddenly he's falling over.
Yeah, he put his like back foot on the edge of the stairs, which is pretty silly.
I'm eating spaghetti with some chicken in it. I didn't make my dinner earlier, so I'm eating it now while I'm not talking. Or trying to. I had too much in my mouth when King finished. Donna Margay is dumb. Like, the whole mysterious shadow of the true leader kind of thing. Like, this execution of it is dumb. Up to now, I've given it a pass because it's like, oh, he's just speaking on a TV. We don't need to see him. But this episode, we get a pseudo appearance of him, and they're still doing the shadow thing. Just show us what he looks like. Like, I guarantee that when we finally see what his monster costume is, it's not going to be impressive. So just show us what he fucking looks like. Let's actually put a face to this guy.
Like, I could tolerate that a little bit more, like, if in like the flashbacks where they show him that we saw what he looked like there, for him to be all like cloaked and whatnot, and then have him look completely different, that would be a nice little surprise. But the fact that literally so far every connection between what he's looked like in the past and what he looks like now has literally been just a cloaked fucking figure.
Yeah, that's something I was going to get to later. If they actually, like, didn't show us what he looks like now, but did show us a costume in the past, and so that when we get to him now it's different, that would have been great. It would have shown how he changed over, like, what, 1,000 years?
Right, and it would have also tied into the fact of Ho-Ho thinking that he really did kill Don Armage, and this is just some imposter, and it could have played both sides of that, it could have played up the, well, he really did kill him, and, you know, this is some imposter, or it could have played up of, this is what your damage is caused. And I feel that they're really missing out on that by just keeping both sides of the coin shielded like that. It's not making sense.
In a series,
like you said, it's going to get to the point where he's going to get revealed, and it's going to be underwhelming.
In a series that wanted to break the mold, they are playing it way too safe. Oh, and I guess Otori pushed Lucky out of the way because he's not a complete asshole.
Yep. Yeah, so then on the Oriongo, Tsurugi and Lucky briefly argue before Tsurugi leaves to find Tetsu. Sho tells Lucky that Tsurugi might be fighting alone because he might be carrying a heavy burden. Lucky catches up with Tsurugi and offers to be his shield if he tells him about his past. And then we get into a flashback of Tsurugi's comrade, Cuervo, of the Corvo system. Basically a pro-alien guy. He was a tactician, but he wanted to fight as well. But during the fight, many warriors died. Tsurugi used his immortality to attack, but it failed miserably. And before they were defeated, Cuervo sacrificed himself to give Tsurugi an opening to attack. One thing that I did like about this was Cuervo's voice actor. I'm sure he was familiar to some of you, but he was Speedor in KyuuRanger, which is the redneck.
I was like, where have I heard this voice before? This sounds super familiar.
Yeah.
Holy shit, thank you.
You're welcome. And he was Leon in Gato, the animation, if you guys have watched that. Pretty brutal. But yeah. Hopefully we get more of him because of what Spada and Raptor are doing, but maybe not. Oh well. What did you guys think about the flashback?
I liked that there was somebody significant in his life that somebody reminds him of now. Like, in this case, Cuervo was the tactician. He was never supposed to fight. He was supposed to basically give out the strategies and everything. What was Raptor before she became a KyuuRanger? So I kind of liked how that tied into what he went through back then. He let Cuervo fight, and look how that turned out. He didn't want to lose Raptor the same way or anybody else. And I like that he humbled himself, really. He's like, I used my immortality, it didn't work, and he died protecting me. I'm not going to let that happen again. So, yeah, I mean, and Lucky, again, I mean, whilst very subtle, I will admit, it was nice to see him basically break a little bit more ground. Like, I'll consider doing it, but you have to tell me why you would even want us to do this in the first place. And I don't know. I thought it was a good scene with the two of them.
Yeah, I finished KyuuRanger a few weeks ago, so when I heard this character talking, I was like, his voice sounds familiar. I'm sure I've heard it in, like, Sentai or Rider before. Speedor, okay. And Speedor was a condor, and this guy was some kind of bird, right? That's what he looked like.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was a bird.
So, yeah,
a giant crow, basically.
That was very fitting. That's a nice little Easter egg. As for the actual backstory itself, yeah, it was neat to see that Otori actually didn't just view his allies as a shield. And that makes me actually wonder if he kept saying, like, you need to be my shield to be useful, because he was trying to push people away. He was trying to come off as an asshole to, like, disencourage them to die for him. But based on what we see later, I feel like I'm giving him too much credit, and I don't understand how his character's personality shifted so heavily. It's really confusing.
It was also a nice touch that the two tacticians between the past and the present are kind of technically bird-based. As we have Cuervo, who is a crow, and then we have Raptor, who's named after a bird. That was a nice little touch. To the people who have been doing the flashbacks for character development through the series so far, this is how you do it. Not the dumb shit you did with Hammy.
God, that was dumb.
This is how you do character development through backstory, through flashbacks, because this makes sense. With, like Rai said, is like through everything that we learned through the backstory is he didn't want anybody to die for him, but he knew he needed help. And then he had somebody who literally was not supposed to die protecting him, so that way he could kill Don Armage. It adds to why he comes off as an asshole. Like Rai said, it seems to be the I'm going to tell you to die for me because that'll get you to not do it, and you'll leave me the hell alone. So you don't have to die. So I can do this myself and not risk any more deaths. It makes sense. And like Rai said, with the character shifting later in the episode, it's really drastic and makes it really confusing. But at this point in the episode, it makes sense. And like I said, it's like this is the most character development we've gotten out of any character so far, especially in this short of amount of time. Because literally all we've had is, oh, he's a guy who was frozen, and he's an asshole. And now it's, oh, now he has a reason to be an asshole, and here's this long explanation of why. It adds more depth to his character, but at the same time, I feel that them focusing so hard on him right now is pulling away from development from other characters. Granted, yeah, we get some from some with Lucky, because the last couple episodes he's like, no, fuck that guy. And then now it's kind of one of those, well, maybe there's a reason for it. And it makes sense that Lucky would go asking, hey, what the hell? If this is what you want, you're going to have to explain your shit, or this ain't going to happen. You know, it does show a little bit of character growth on Lucky's, like, but overall, it's primarily everything is focused on Ho-Ho. That's so much easier to say than his name. But yeah, it was just one of those things. Like, it just, the backstory was great, but I feel it was just a little too much too quick with how they're trying to do the pacing for this series, because the pacing for this series so far has been kind of up and down. Like, they want to draw some shit out, but other things like this, they're trying to just cram it all in. It works for this episode, but it just, with the pacing of the series as a whole, it just seems kind of off.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, Tsurugi basically leaves with the Shishikyu Tama because he doesn't want to sacrifice any more comrades. Then in Gabura's stomach, the Rangers are nearing the end. Although Champ and Balance don't have blood, their energy is being drained, so yeah, they're in trouble too. Tsurugi attacks, but he's weakened by his wounds. Before being defeated, Lucky and Sholompo interfere. Yes, I'm gonna keep calling him Lompo. Lucky harshly scolds Tsurugi because throwing his life away would be throwing away his comrade's sacrifices as well, and that he should fight with Lucky, who will be a shield that fights. Yeah, and even Sholompo was like, yeah, Lucky says some pretty weird shit. Which is pretty funny. So yeah, the 3-star change and roll call. During the fight, Tsurugi and Lucky argue over who gets to be the shield that fights. Kind of funny. Sho volunteers, but he gets blasted, but then he decides he'll distract Tetsu while the others save the Rangers from Gabura. And then we get an insert song, it's pretty great. Lucky and Tsurugi defeat Gabura, freeing the others, and then he turns giant. Oh yeah, this is one thing I did like about, despite Don Armage still being plugged in the past, just the fact that he was a giant. It makes a lot more sense with the gimmick of the enemies turning giant, because their little badges break and then purple gas turns them giant. So they're basically getting a piece of Don Aramage's power to just be giant all the time. So I guess that was some decent clarity. But yeah, thoughts?
King?
Yeah, I mean, I get that the reasoning was a little bit iffy for some people, but I mean, it at the start he had good reasoning. Like, you throw your life away, what will all of that have been for, right? And I know that the fighting shield thing comes out of left field a little bit, especially since he's been going on and on about how he's gonna be a fighting shield. He's not gonna be a shield, I'm sorry. But I mean, he did say he would kill. Now he does, so that's better than nothing, right? And I know the fighting between them was a little childish, but I thought it was really funny either way. So, it was something. And I did like the fight after. That was really cool.
So, Lucky, this scene kind of contradicts everything Lucky has stood for up to this point and everything we just saw in Otori's backstory not 3 minutes ago. So here's the subtext that I think is happening that justifies this. So Otori steals Lucky's Kyuutama so he can't fight. So Lucky just finally gives up and he's like, fine, I'll tell him whatever he wants to hear so I can fight. I'll be your shield, but I'm going to be a shield that fights. And he gets his Kyuutama back, and he becomes stubborn about it. But Otori is like shocked, like, okay, so he's determined to fight, he's gonna do it no matter what I say. Well, maybe I can be a shield that fight, like, what is that like? And then Lucky becomes stubborn about it, like, no, I'm the shield, I said I was gonna do it! And you have this pseudo Three Stooges bit.
It's one of those. It's one of those things where, if you think of this from like a family aspect, this is two brothers who literally just go, "No, I'm gonna do the thing. No, I'm gonna do the thing. No, I'm gonna do the thing." It's literally what that was. It was literally two brothers fighting to do the same thing.
Oh god. And then I love Shorampo coming in, getting shot, and being like, "Bitch, target acquired." Ah. God. These two are perfect for each other.
Naga said it best. They're a good combi. Fucking, one scene that... this episode so far has had two of my favorite scenes because it brought back some of their characters, you know, the way their characters were from the beginning. Is when they're inside the Monster of the Week, you know, everybody else is draining, and Balance goes, "Oh no, I'm dying too, because it's draining my blood," and Champ basically goes, "Dude, you're a robot." And Balance goes, "Oh right, yeah, I'm fine." It brought back that little, the playfulness that Balance has, and I like when they do shit like that. And then Shorampo basically sitting there going, "You know what? You guys are this looks like fun. I want in on it too." And it just gets fucking blasted. And like Rai said, it's like, "Nope, fuck you. This is on. I'm taking his ass." It was great.
I just love it.
Because it's literally, it's like, "I'm gonna be a shield." Bam. You know what? I'm fucking you up.
It's one of his best moments for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, and I've always loved this aspect of Shorampo. As much as it's irritated me somewhat in the past with him basically just running with whatever the fuck anybody else is doing, it worked out perfectly for this episode.
It worked out super good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it let him be that dumb, childlike fucking character that he seemed to be of, "I know everything, but I'm just gonna sit back and let this play out and then tell you what really happened." Versus, you know, you know what? No, I want in on this too. Let me join. Let me play. And then him to just go straight from I'm playing along to, you know what? It's time to wreck some shit. Just how quickly his character shifted, and that was great, and I loved it. It kind of irritated me a little bit with Lucky and Suguri fighting over who gets to be the shield. But looking back on it a little bit, it makes sense. Because like I said earlier, it's basically that whole sibling rivalry bullshit. And, but at the same time, when you think about it from a logical standpoint with the series, we basically have two Reds now. We have two leaders fighting over who's going to be the leader. It's basically what that was. In a weird roundabout sense of, no, I'm going to be the shield that fights. No, I'm going to be the shield that fights. It's literally them jockeying for position.
It's a good thing Lucky said, like 20 episodes ago, that no one's the leader.
Right. But it was one of those things, like, that's literally what it felt like.
I love that King just sighed audibly for the stream.
It's just one of those things. It's like, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's kind of irritating. Because now, as I've liked Suguri's character up to this point. I still like his character, but to me, it's a little bit of a drawback. with them, for lack of a better term, pardon my language, everybody, but basically it's a dick waving contest of I can do this better, is what it seemed like to me. It was great and it worked out, and it did lead to my favorite part of the episode, with Showrumpo getting shot and him going, you know what, I'm fucking your shit up. That was great. Was not happy about what comes next. Speaking of which, go for it, Decade.
Will do. So the Shishi and Ho Voyagers deploy. Tetsu turns giant as well, and yeah, the Voyagers get pretty messed up. But before the other Rangers can join, their Kyutamas fly towards the two Voyagers, including Spada and Raptors, even though they're far away on a distant planet. Yeah, and they all just decide to combine to form Kyutamaji. Lucky and Tsurugi pilot it themselves to defeat Gabura, who is used as a shield by Tetsu. Pretty funny. Lucky points out that it is difficult to pilot with just the two of them, though. So, I guess there's that. On the Oriongo, Tsurugi gets a license as well and tells the Rangers to call him Tsurugi, despite being much older. And then he informs them that Raptor and Spada are on the planet Toki, looking for the Tokei Kyutama. And it basically has the power to go into the past.
Tokimeki Crisis?
Yeah, the Tokimeki Crisis Kyutama. So Tsurugi wants to learn from the past, basically what the hell happened with that final battle against Don Armage. And then Spada and Raptor make a distress call, saying they basically need help. And then the Oriongo leaves Earth to join them. Yay! Episode end. So, thoughts?
For the mecha, giant Christmas tree. Fourth wall break about how only 2 people driving it is ridiculous. Yeah, it looks kind of weird, but hell, I mean, if they want to pull it off, who am I to judge? Tsurugi joining the team, very happy about that. I've been really curious about what the Tokekyutama is, though, because I've seen some pictures and reviews of it, and it's been driving me crazy what it's gonna do. So the fact that Tsurugi wants to use that to go back to his battle, I think is really cool, and not to change it. Notice the wording. He said, "I want to see what happened." He didn't say, "I want to change what happened." I like that they're not gonna try that trope and they're gonna take it in a different direction. So a new fool in the wrinkle, you know? But yeah, I know a lot of people don't like Kyutamaji. Love it or hate it, it's there. We can't really do much about Mr. Christmas Tree, but hell, I mean, like I said, if they want to try that, by all means, we've got half of the season left. Let's go nuts.
This mech isn't even an all-together mech. Like, it's just the 2 reds mechs combined together with some decoration. Like, and that decoration happens to be the cockpits of the other mechs. Nothing about the other cockpits just looks like they really need to be there. They just look like they're supposed to represent joints, if that. The KyuuRanger's altogether mech looks really good because everything looks like it has a place. Vashu was saying earlier, he'll probably mention again, that the Shinkenger's final mech, altogether mech rather, doesn't look good. And that's because beyond the core mech, nothing really looks like it has a place. And that's kind of the problem with this one, which is that the cockpits are just thrown in there because they can be. They don't really look like they belong there. The Ninja's altogether mech is fucking bullshit because it's just a mech sitting inside a mech sitting inside of a mech, but at least you know what's going on with that one.
Right. This mech looked, to me, it looked fucking terrible. And this is, like I'd pointed out to Rai, there have been shitty mechs in the past with this type of idea of the altogether mech looking like garbage because nothing fits. This literally just looks like the Red's mech mixed with Ho-Ho, just strapped with a bunch of orbs. It's what it looks like. I feel that they could have made the design of this look a lot better, especially if they were going to do the quote-unquote altogether mech, which we're only 24 episodes in. There's no way in hell this is the altogether mech. But for them to set it up as that, I have a problem with.
It's the at the time altogether mech.
Right. And it's the same issue that I had with when they merged fucking Ruteo and the base one. It looked off. Mainly because that one looked like it was giving Ruteo a piggyback ride.
It was literally just one mech sitting behind the other.
Yeah. To me, that was the same issue Shinkenger had. Of it just looked off. The fight itself, it looked nice. Because I went back and I started watching Shinkenger and stuff like that here recently. I miss mech fights, like honest to god mech fights. I miss them.
Dude, some of the mech fights in KyuuRanger are rad. Like, hold no bars, they legit use their mechs.
Right, and like in Shinkenger, like because I'm only a couple episodes going back and rewatching it, they legitimately fight, like full-on hardcore fight. Like we all grew up to watching, because like I grew up watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There were actual mech fights in that, and for it to get dumbed down, in my opinion, to here's what it looks like. Let's watch it move a little bit, and yeah, finish your move. It takes a lot of the nostalgia out of it. That I think a lot of people who've grown up watching these series, it takes a lot of it out of it. Like, because for me, it's like, as an adult, like, I want to share this stuff with my kids. Like, and I get that things have to change over time, but to me this is an example of a bad change, because it's taking out something that Sentai has been known for. Because Sentai, it's one of the premier differences between Sentai and Rider, aside from the fact that Rider's typically darker overall as a series, rather than kind of happy-go-lucky that Sentai is. But it was the giant monster fights that made, to me, this is what made Sentai once they introduced this as a thing. As I understand, back in the days prior to Mighty Morphin and all that, there weren't giant monster fights. It was just guys in suits.
It was there was no mech for the first two Sentai, KyuuRanger and Jack.
Yeah.
And once the giant robots were introduced, that's when they rebranded it as Super Sentai. The robot,
Right.
The giant mechs are literally what make it a Super Sentai.
Right, and it's like the fact that they're seeming to edge it out for portions of the episode, just to either save on time so they can focus on characters, which I get. It kind of has to be done this series a little bit with the amount of characters that they have to develop and all that. But damn, give us some monster fights, some giant monster fights. It's what we want. It's what we crave. It's part of why we watch this series. I did like, throughout, as much as I hated the mech, I did like the fact when the what the hell is the bad guy's name? The actual vice commander.
Tetsu.
Tetsu uses the monster of the week as a shield, and he goes, and fucking Ho-Ho goes, "That's cowardly! How dare he!" And literally, Lucky looks up at him and goes, "You literally just did that. You're one to talk.
I wanted to say that, but I forgot.
The only credit I'm going to give Otori is that Otori never forced anyone to be his shield. And that is the only credit I'm going to give him.
Right, and that's literally the only credit he has at this point for that. Is, well, yes, up throughout this series, since he's been introduced, that's kind of what he's been pushing for. He's never actually done it. He's always tried to be the guy who takes the brunt of the damage to protect everybody else, which that's been shown throughout this series, outside of that one time Raptor got hit, which that wasn't necessarily his fault, because there was a lot of shit going on in that one. But he's always seemed to be that guy of, I'm going to push everybody out of the way and I'll take the brunt of the damage. It's what he did in this episode when he shoved Lucky out of the way. So I get why Lucky said worded it the way he did. Is it's you're one to talk. It's what you've been telling us to do. But it was a nice moment, and I did like the fact that they pointed out that, yeah, this is hard to pilot with two people. It was a nice touch for an ugly ass mech.
In terms of right now,
Yeah.
okay, we should be coming back on. So that's a problem that I've been having with my internet recently. Thankfully, it hasn't really been bad tonight. Hopefully, it goes equally well tomorrow. As I was saying, like, I'm gonna keep calling Tsurugi Otori because Tsurugi is the name of Kamen Rider Sawsword. So just like how Kamen Rider Brave's name is Kagami Hero, and I specifically call him Hero, it's because Kagami is the name of Kamen Rider Gattack.
I'm probably just going to call him Ho-Ho because I suck at pronouncing his name.
Other than that, nice segue into the next episode.
The only issue that I have with what he said is because it's the fucking trope about him not wanting to change the past. I got a feeling that he may not be a massive change to it, but just with the weight, with what we saw of it, with him wanting to go back, he may not go back to kill Don Armage, but I think he's going to go back to try to save, what the hell was his name? Corvo?
Bashy, cut out.
I still heard him. King?
Yeah.
King?
It may be King's internet. But I have a feeling he's going to go back to at least save Corvat or whatever his name is.
Oh, crap.
Okay, we hear you.
Decade, please tell me you're still there.
I hear you, King.
Yeah, I'm here. Maybe she can't hear us.
King, no. Vashi, go on while we figure this out.
Sorry.
We're having some issues that we're getting worked out with King. In the meantime, because she can't seem to hear us. In the meantime, though,
shit. Oh god, I'm sorry.
Like I said, it's like it because of because it is such a freaking trope. I have a feeling that he may, like I said, he may not go back to kill Don Armage because it didn't work so well the first time. I think he's going to go back to save the crow guy, which I can't not remember his name. It's like Servas or Corvaz or something. Cuervo. How did I not remember his name? I like Jose Cuervo. He just does not like me. But I think it's going to be something like that, where he's going to go back to try to save at least one person that died for him. And seen as the only one that we've seen who truly did die for him was Cuervo. I see that being the thing that happens. Which, of course, will lead to who knows what changes and all that crap that time travel has, problems that time travel has and things that they can exploit because of it. Like, who knows? They could bring Scorpio back because of it.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
You're
I just
good-
want Melon Lord back.
Okay, you're just being optimistic.
Yes,
Sounds
I
me
am.
be like, what the fuck is the connection there?
Well, because I mean, the idea of the ripple effect of changing something in the past, who knows what changes it'll make in the future with
Right.
the future. So he could go back and save one person, and it could cause somebody else not to die in the future or whatever. It's just wibbly wobbly, timey wimey bullshit.
Yeah, that's
And
the
I
reason.
want Melon Lord.
That's the reason I can see him not going back to kill Don Armarki in the past, because, like, well, Jargmander may have been doing some fucked up shit, but if I go and kill him in the past now, what if he just gets replaced with someone even worse? Like, why don't I just deal with the problem as it stands?
Right, because there's still that issue of we don't know for certain if Don Armage died or didn't die in the past. So
Yeah.
they can use that to explore it, and oh wait, he did die, or no, he didn't. And like you said, if he didn't, or like you said, it could be that whole, well, if I defeat him now, somebody worse can take his place. You know,
I swear,
it
if
may
we-
not fix any of the problems.
If we don't get a definitive answer from this time travel experience, which I predict won't even take place for like 3 episodes at least, I'm going to be super mad about it.
Right. I want, when they do this, I want definitive answers.
Like, this is probably this is one of their more interesting plot points. Don't fuck this up by milking it too hard. You have our attention. You're not gonna keep it for the entire series. You're not gonna keep it interesting for that long. You're just gonna make the answer disappointing when we get to it. Give us the answer now.
Right. Because we're what, a third of the way through that, or we're almost halfway through the series?
What episode is this?
24. So yeah, we're almost halfway.
No, we are halfway.
Yeah, we're halfway through the series.
Never assume
so-
a full 50. We are halfway.
Right. Right. So we're halfway, maybe little, maybe under, maybe over. Depends on how many this actually runs.
I like to
But-
guess about 48 episodes each time.
Right. Which works out really well because that's pretty much standard, between 47 and 49 here, especially here lately. But just give us our damn answer already, because you have our, like you said, right? You have our attention. We want the answer. We're not going to sit here until episode 40 to find out if he got killed or if it's somebody else.
Especially since, like I said before, if you milk this too long, you're gonna make the answer more disappointing when you finally do give it to us. Strike while the
Right.
iron is hot.
Right. Either that or you're going to end up doing what I feel is going to happen if they do milk it, of we're going to all figure it out, and it'll make it so much more underwhelming when it's revealed, because then we'll be sitting going, oh, well, we called that. Which I realize contradicts 90% of what I say on the Kamen Rider podcast, because I've fucking called almost everything in X8 so far. But still.
There's a difference between, like, guessing something and being like, finding out, like, oh yeah, this is true, versus they dropped so many hints, we just know what it is at this point.
Or the fact that every guess I've made has been based off the frickin' tropes from everything I've seen so far. It's why I have a feeling that he's gonna fuck with something in the past, because it's kind of what happens every time they bring up time travel and this shit. Every time. Don't believe me? Go watch Deno.
Deno
90% that was dicking in the past.
handled phenomenal. Deno handled time travel phenomenally.
It did,
Even though,
except for the only issue I had with the time travel in Deno is when they'd go back in the past, fight, blow shit up, and everything was still magically fixed at the end.
because
That shouldn't happen.
because of memories. What the Imagine were trying to do was they were trying to actually change it, but because Deno stopped them when he did, they didn't make any permanent effects, and so people's memories of what happened corrected what happened.
Okay, see, now I can live with that because I didn't piece that together. Okay, so,
So-
ignore Deno on that.
There's that one episode where that one guy dies in the past, but because no one in the present remembers him, he doesn't get revived.
Oh, okay.
And so he just gets on the train, Denliner, as a passenger, and they're like, he's just gonna stay here until someone remembers him.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Okay. See, I forgot about that. It's been a while
Yeah.
since I've seen Deno. But time travel in these series has always caused problems. Like, hell, I started watching Kabuto. We can use Kabuto as an example. The movie for Kabuto is literally a giant issue of time travel. It literally floods the gate of, well, shit. Which one's real? Which one's, the new timeline? Because he did this, what caused all this shit to happen? It throws a wrinkle into it. And they tend to fucking milk that, from what I've seen so far. Because, like I said, time travel with Sentai especially, I think it's opening a door I don't think they want to open completely.
Well, guess what, Vashi?
Yeah, they're gonna fucking do it.
Enjoy Kabuto's cohesive storyline while it lasts. And yes, the first half of the series is the cohesive part.
Oh, frick me, fantastic. But like I said, I feel that them using time travel and all that with he's gonna fuck with something. The temptation especially for Ho to dick with something in the past, to save somebody, to change something, the temptation is too strong there, I feel. With the way that they worked his character out with the flashback that they gave us. He's gonna dick with something, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I know it's not gonna bring back Melon Lord. I really hope it would, though, because Melon Lord was awesome. I miss my Kamen Rider Sentai. And that's all I gotta say about that.
I think that about wraps up this episode.
Yeah. I don't really have any more thoughts other than back to the mechs. I really thought that Gigant Ho-Oh was a step in the right direction, and this was a bit disappointing. But who knows? Maybe when they get more pilots in there, it'll be more badass. That would be nice. So, might be looking forward to that.
If, they do, put the other KyuuRangers in their cockpits and, do some sort of crazy bullshit where, each one, activates their mech, and so the actual, mech forms on there to do something different for each one, I might forgive this. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So, thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Go ahead, Decade.
Oh, no, I was just gonna sign off. Did anyone else have any final thoughts, though?
I didn't, and King's mic is still messing up.
I just don't want to risk it again.
Oh, hey, now it works.
See you guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you guys for listening. For those of you who want to tune in tomorrow for our Kamen Rider X8 podcast, that'll be tomorrow, 9 o'clock as well, Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who don't, we will be back here next week for episode 25 of KyuuRanger. Thank you guys for joining us. Peace.